What the fuck is up, Juggalos? This is Mitchell, the Murder Mayhem guy, and I wanted to take some time to let you know a little bit more about who I am, because a lot of you, I think, mostly know me just from following me on Twitter and social media or the Facebook page, but a lot of you might not really know that much about me. So rather than just expecting you to pay attention to my opinions or give a shit about what I have to say, I thought maybe there would be some value in going back and letting you know a little bit more about me and what being a Juggalo means to me. So let me take you back to my introduction into the Juggalo world. This was 1999, all right? And I had never heard of Insane Clown Posse until they started advertising for the amazing Juggalo Brothers. And this commercial was promoting the Another Love Song music video. And the thought actually crossed my mind, like, man, that was one wild commercial. Insane Clown Posse. What the fuck kind of a name is that for a band? Not even in a negative way, just in like a captured my imagination sort of way. Like, Insane Clown Posse, who comes up with such a name? And the music video is pretty wild, you know, it's got Twisted jumping around and shit, so to see all that spectacle makes you wonder, and not to mention the album title name, The Amazing Juggalo Brothers. It's like, what the fuck does that mean? So, as bizarro happenstance would have it, a close friend of mine in middle school, I was in the 8th grade at the time, he was a Juggalo, and the way he had found out about ICP was just by seeing the Riddlebox CD in stores a few years before that. By the time that he had jumped on, Malenko had already come out, so this was like 1997 or 1998 at the time that my friend had seen the Riddlebox album in stores, and he just thought it was sweet-looking artwork, so he got that CD. He got into ICP, but it wasn't until after Juggalo Brothers had come out that he bought Juggalo Brothers and brought it to school and was listening to it, you know, getting into it because that's a fucking badass CD. So here he is listening to Juggalo Brothers all the time. I'm wondering what it is that he's, you know, bumping on his CD player every day. He gives me a listen. Mad Professor comes on. That's the song that he played for me from Juggalo Brothers. This, again, is in the 8th grade. It's the very first ICP song I ever heard, Mad Professor. And man, that shit just immediately clicked. It just hit me right away. Because even those opening lines of Mad Professor where he says, "I was never popular, this I'll admit, fuck school." That was like the life I was living, you know, in the 8th grade as a 14-year-old scrubby dude in the 8th grade. That's like the number one thought in your mind all the time. Fuck school. Fuck this. I hate this shit. So to hear it come from Violent J so articulately in a way that I had never really heard before, I just got it immediately. And at that point, I was already a rap fan because I had been listening to a lot of Tupac and Dr. Dre and Ice Cube and NWA and Snoop Dogg. It was mostly the West Coast shit that I was a fan of at the time. But even that stuff never fully connected. I mean, I thought it was awesome, and I believe me, that is still some of my top favorite artists of all time to this day still. But I couldn't quite resonate with what they were rapping about because I was just a suburban white dude from the Midwest, you know? So it still didn't fully connect the way that ICP did. And after I heard that shit, I was just downloading as much ICP as I possibly could. I mean, I'll admit it, I wasn't paying for shit. I was downloading it constantly, just all day and all night, though, trying to get as much new ICP shit as I could. And at that point, I'll still stand by this and say that in 1999, every single song that ICP had ever put out is the shit. There's no bad ones. Even going into, like, you know, the B-sides and shit and the rare bootlegs and whatnot, everything was fucking great. So I was just downloading all the shit that I could and having an awesome time discovering this new thing. Plus, Twisted was already on the scene at this point, so you had Most Tasteless to dive into and all that kind of shit. So really, I mean, for those first few years there, from 99, 2000, 2001, I mean, you've got Psychopathic Riders coming out. There's Psychopathic from Outer Space, Freak Show, Bizarre, all this awesome stuff to choose from, just coming at you. And of course, in 2002, you've got the Wraith. So I was fortunate enough to be on board in that first Joker's card era, where you're still wondering all like, what the fuck is a sixth Joker's card going to be? What is it going to be? So if you weren't around during that first sixth Joker's card era, then that's a part of Juggalo culture that we'll never be able to recapture, but because it was something else. Just like, what is a sixth Joker's card going to be? What is it going to sound like? What is the message? So on and so forth. So that was a really awesome time to become a Juggalo, and I'm not going to pretend like I go as far back as the Malenko days or the Riddlebox days or anything like that. I'm not trying to front any more than what it is. 1999, Juggalo Brothers, that was my shit. And Juggalo Brothers remains my favorite CD of all time. ICP or otherwise, Joker's card or otherwise, whatever. Juggalo Brothers, if I only had one CD to listen to for my entire life, it would be Juggalo Brothers, hands down. I'll never get tired of that shit. And I've been listening to that entire era of Juggalo music for the last however many years that is now, 19 years, and it's still as awesome as the first days that I heard it. I'll never get sick of the Great Malenko. I'll never get sick of Ringmaster. That is my shit for life. And when it comes to any musical act, or really just any artistry of any kind under the sun for the history of humankind, ICP is my number one rap group, number one fucking musicians, number one artists, number one everything. You can't touch them. It'll never be topped. It'll never be beat. So after so many years of just loving this shit and knowing that it's always going to be a part of my life for all time, finally a few years ago, 2015 I believe it was, I finally just decided that I needed to start contributing more to the Juggalo world that has given me so much. That's why I started the Murder Mayhem Show. It's a podcast. You can find all the links on murdermayhemshow.com. There's memes on the Facebook page, twitter.com/murdermayhemguy. There's a Facebook page, there's a YouTube page. Just go to murdermayhemshow.com. You can find everything there. Maybe you'll agree with the shit that I say. Maybe you won't. Whatever. It's all good. And if you don't, tell me. Tell me you disagree. I don't give a fuck. And if you try to make it on some personal level bullshit, I'm not even playing that game, because it's the Juggalo shit is my life. So I'm not going to separate my life into like, okay, here's the Juggalos that I have beef with. Here's the Juggalos that I'm cool with. It's not going down that way. You can talk that shit. It's all good to me, man, because I'm not trying to look over my shoulder every time I go to a Juggalo event. So I think that just about explains everything. We have a long way to go. I have all kinds of opinions that you don't even know the half of yet. So just stick with it. I think you'll be thoroughly entertained. Peace out.